Hey there. Hello, how do you do? My name is Harry Wetzel. Thanks for coming. It's the 80s, darling. Yes, it is. It's 1985, Wednesday, and I'm working at the Winter Garden Theater, as you know. This particular Wednesday, a beautiful sunny day, the ticket office comes out and says, listen, there's a theater that's got a 4:30 performance after our matinee, and they want to paper the house, and they want as many people in the audience as they can to fill the house. So there's free tickets to everybody who's an usher or a concessionaire or a bartender in all the Broadway theaters up and down the network here are all invited to come see this preview of this person who's having a one-person show. And the preview is going on at 4:30 in the afternoon, so people who are also on Broadway and also have a show that night, that Wednesday night, could get over to see this 4:30 p.m. matinee at the Court, C-O-R-T, Court Theater. And we're like, sure. What's the, and they say it's a one-person comedy show. And you're like, okay, that's cool. And so then we have our matinee and we finish up, and then they're like, go get the tickets, and we're going to go down here to the Court Theater and see somebody who we see. And they say, and one of the ticket takers says, it's Whoopi Goldberg. Did you ever hear of Whoopi Goldberg? And I said, I think I heard of him. And he says, no, it's a woman. And I'm like, ooh, then no, I've never heard of good old Whoopi Goldberg. Okay. So we go down there to the Court Theater down here on 44th, I believe, Street, right? Or 43rd. And the place is crammed with Broadway celebrities who've got a show that night. Yes, and we sat somewhere really good seats in like the 11th row, and we were 2 rows behind Stiller and Mira themselves. Yes, and they were together. And Nathan Lane was in the house, and Tommy Toon was in the house. Yes, and who else? What's his name? Anthony Perkins himself was in the house. Yes. So that was pretty cool. And we're hanging around here in the 11th row, waiting for this one-person show to come on. And there it is. So we had great seats. And do I need to tell you that this Whoopi Goldberg character blew us all away? It was one of the amazing shows that I have ever seen. Yes, she's an amazing storyteller. Everything was hilarious and funny and sweet and poignant and moving and heartbreaking. It was one of these shows where she just covered everything just by doing one character after the other. She's absolutely magnificent. It's one of the greatest shows, and it's one person talking. One person talking. That is theater. That goes back to the ancient times around the campfire, one person telling a story. Yeah, for an hour and a half, absolutely great. So anyhow, this show is over. And I'm sitting in my chair there. I am completely exhausted. I feel like a wet rag because the show was brutal. It was exhausting and beautiful and funny and hilarious and heartbreaking and very moving. And it was exhausting when it was over. So everybody, Harold and I went together. Harold, my concessionaire, my selling partner, right? He took off. He wanted to get back to the theater. And I was one of the last ones to leave the theater. I just sat there. And I got up and I walked on out and I looked, empty Court Theater auditorium. And I walk on over to Broadway and I'm like, I don't I don't want to walk away from that because the energy was still in that room. So I turned around, and I walked back to the Court Theater, and I walked in, and there was a small group of people down there on the front of the stage, and Whoopi Goldberg herself, and her friends and well-wishers, and they're all chatting and stuff, and I just walked on down the aisle, and there they are, and there's only a dozen or so people, if that many people, and I'm just another one of them, and they eventually wind up finishing their conversation and leaving, and then I'm there, and I'm like, it's my turn to talk to her. So I'm like, I tell her how amazing she is, how amazing the show is, how exhausted I was, how beautiful and funny and moving and heartbreaking everything was. She was very gracious. She was very sweet. She has such a lovely, huge smile. She was very sweet, and I was emboldened by that. So I said, may I kiss your hand? And she said, yes, she offered her hand. So I kissed the hand of Whoopi Goldberg on that Wednesday in 1985. Yes. And I have to tell you how cosmic it was, because just a couple of hours ago, I had never heard of this person at all. And now I'm kissing the hand of one of my favorite celebrity encounters that I've ever had. It was absolutely cosmic. Well, there was a couple of other people and still talking, and she was chatting, and so I decided to go back to work. So I walk on up and walk on out, and I walk on over to Broadway, and I start to walk back home to the Winter Garden Theater. Yes, home to the Winter Garden Theater, because that's what it felt like now. I had been there a few months by now, and you develop an affection for the people that you work with when you're in harsh conditions. And it was those selling periods were battle conditions during a storm at sea. It was crazy and exhausting, and you get to develop an affection and a camaraderie with people that you work under these conditions through. It's amazing what you go through. And so the ushers and the bartenders and the concessionaires and the headphone renters and the ticket takers and the ticket sellers all can understand, all can relate to each other what each one of these pre-show, intermission show, and post-show sales are like. It's exhausting, and you become thick as thieves. You know what I mean? You become very close friends when you go through a battle together. And then afterwards, sometimes you go out, or you just hang around between shifts, of course, and congratulate each other on surviving another battle. And sometimes we'd go out after in the evening, of course, and booze it up together around the streets of Manhattan, and you become even thicker with each other. It was a great camaraderie that we held. It was. Yes. So CT was one of my great companions in the outer world of celebrating living through each one of those battle conditions. Yes, CT and his and his amazing friend Kooky Crazy Janie. Yes, and so the three of us, CT and Kooky Crazy Janie and me, would get together and go out drinking and going out doing illicit substances all night long. It was fantastic. We'd go back to CT's place. He lived in the 70s on 73rd or something like that. And Kooky Crazy Janie lived over there also on 73rd, just right there off the 72nd Street subway line. It was fantastic, and we'd stay up until very, very late in the morning doing all sorts of illicit substances and drinking booze and smoking reefer. I would smoke reefer. CT and Kooky Crazy Janie didn't really care about smoking weed, but I did. And then we'd have a celebration of surviving with each other, and then at 4 or 5 or whatever in the morning, dawn, I'd be walking home because it was just 20 short blocks up to 98th and Broadway. Yes. And so one night, however, we said, yeah, let's go down to the bottom of the island and take the Staten Island ferry. Yes. So it was very late. It was 4 or 5. It was pushing very early in the morning. And then we took the subway. You take the subway from 72nd all the way down to the bottom of the island. Right. And then you're all the way at the bottom of the island, and you look up and you can see the beautiful skyline, the cityscape from down here. There's the Wall Street buildings, and there's the World Trade Center. There it is. Big old goofy thing, right? And then you get on the Staten Island ferry. And it's sailing, sailing. And so we're up there on the top in our seats, and we're looking at the beautiful harbor, and you can see the bay out there, and you're gonna look and you say, oh, as we're crossing down to Staten Island, you can see the Statue of Liberty. Yes. And there she is, and then we go down to Staten Island. Then you turn around, you come back. Right, it's very exciting. So now it's dawn. It's dawn, and the sky is turning light over there in the eastern part of the sky, and you're out on the water, and there aren't even that many. It's still pretty early for even for the morning rush hour to be happening. So there's only still a few people on the boat. Just random drunks and drug addicts like us hanging around. Yes. And now you're going back up to the island. You look over and there's the Statue of Liberty on the way up. And I must digress for a moment for back a few years earlier, when my friend Bill Dunning, da-da-da-da-da-da, and I, Bill Dunning, and I went to New York City, yes, in 1978. It was a very exciting trip that we took. And we went to the top of the Statue of Liberty. Yes. So did you ever go to the top of the Statue of Liberty? If you have, comment and like and share and all that stuff, please. And thank you. And thank you. Thank you for being with me. There's a few of us who are together. We need to expand our ranks, though. Yeah, let's do it. Share it out, everybody. I really look forward to that. Thank you. Anyhow. So, Bill Dunning, da-da-da-da-da, and I went to Liberty Island. You take the Liberty Ferry. You take the Liberty Ferry down to Liberty Island, and there she is, a great big statue. And there are signs all over saying, if you have ever had a problem with your heart in your life, no matter what your age is, don't try and go to the top of the Statue of Liberty. This is a really tall, really steep circular staircase that's equivalent to climbing 22 stories in a building. Yes, you're climbing up to the 22nd floor. I know. So Bill Dunning and I we're still in our teens. I'm 18. It's 1978. It's the 70s, baby. It's 1978. I'm 18 years old. Bill Dunning is 19. We're still made out of steel and rubber. And we were exhausted climbing up those stairs. Yes. And you get up to the top of the Statue of Liberty, and you're in the Statue of Liberty's head. Yes, you are. And there's the windows across your forehead. They're not that big. It's only about like this. It's only big enough to look out. And that room inside the Statue of Liberty's head is not that big. It's not. There's only about 6 people wide. There's 6 windows or 7 or so like that. But it's about 6 people wide, all sort of crowding together, looking out the windows. There's glass in the windows, of course, because it's probably winter in there and it's really cold during the during the winter or something, and they don't want people throwing stuff out. So there's windows, and they got the wire, crisscrossing in there so you can't break it, whatever. So you look out the window and you think of all the famous people who have ever been to the top of the Statue of Liberty, and they took those terrible stairs into this tiny room. Noel Coward was here, for crying out loud. I know. And Ted Bessel. Because they showed it on the TV show. Anyhow. And Marlo Thomas. And so then you got to hustle along. You look out your window, and you look out the next window, and you look out the same view, smoky, cloudy, smudgy windows, and then you got to go. Because there are people, that's a line of people coming up that staircase. So then you got to walk down all the way down, you know what I mean? And it is. So you get out there on Liberty Island. It's a beautiful day. It was a fantastically beautiful day there in 1978, yes. And when you go over to the Liberty Canteen or whatever it is, and Bill Dunning said, I got to get a beverage after that. And so he went to get a beverage, and I'm like, do I get a beverage or do I get a souvenir that I can keep forever? And I did. I got a pennant that said Statue of Liberty. Yes. I used it in a couple of shows that whenever it took place in New York City, I would stick the Statue of Liberty pennant on the set. Yeah, it's still over at my theater, but it still exists. I know. And Bill Dunning drank his bottle of beverage years ago, and I still have that pennant. I love that. Anyhow, that's the end of the digression about the Statue of Liberty. All right. Now, we're back, and it's 1985, and me and CT and Cookie Crazy Janie are on the Staten Island Ferry, and we pass Lady Liberty. However, in 1985, she had a scaffolding all up and down her. Yes. Because they wanted to refurbish and stuff. No, they didn't polish her and make her look like copper, like in that really cool TV show. No, what they did was just refurbish because she was beginning to get shaky, and so they tightened all the bolts. And so here, look at that. The Statue of Liberty in her scaffolding. Right. Okay. So then we get back to Manhattan Island. There it is. And we're back done from as we're going to the island of Manhattan, we're on the boat. Right. Oh, this was the most amazing thing. And you're on the boat, and the birds, the seagulls, are following the boat. Yes. It's so exciting because the birds are flying right at you, and they're like 6 feet away. They're following the boat, and they're just following, and they're flying, and they're flying right at you, and they're going the same rate of speed that the boat is. So you're just watching a bird in flight. It's impossibly beautiful. It's like National Geographic in real time, live before your very eyes, and you see these seagulls flying right at you, occasionally going, oh, and you can see down their big mouth, down their throat. It's a seagull flying at you, trying to get a snack, because that's why they follow the boat. Yeah, these people are always throwing goodies. You know what I mean? Of course. And so it is. It's impossibly beautiful to see a bird coming at you in flight. Now, let that be a lesson to you. You know what happens next? Yes, neither do I. I'll have to look it up, and then I'll find out, and then I'll tell you. Yeah, because this is a big manuscript, and I have to look it up and memorize these little stories that I'm telling you, right? Like now. Okay. I'll talk to you next time, and I so look forward to it, as you know.